it looks like I got the transmission gremlins sorted, so it'll be time to move on to the transmission wiring and some other wiring that needs done. But real quick before I do that, I want to check a couple of things on the transmission the way it sits. So let's do that first. First, I got to get this gauge reinstalled into the rear clutch port once again. Let's get her started. That's in neutral. We gotta check it in drive. Okay, so those are the numbers we came up with. I'm definitely going to talk to some people about those numbers, make sure all of that makes sense. But at least I got those out of the way. But I've taken those measurements, and now I'm going to move on to wiring up some new electronics. In order to get started on this wiring, I think I just need to take a look in here, measure the area I have to work with, plan out where I'm going to put the components, and then I'm just going to do the wiring inside where it's cooler than it is out here in the garage. Hey, Joe here. I know this is going to seem like something from a science fiction movie, but I'm filming this part of the video after I'm done editing the video. The reason for that is I didn't really explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. I hint to it here and there, but I don't just say it. So what I'm doing is I'm intercepting some signals that need to go to my transmission computer. I'm putting in a forced 4 100.1 box. It's going to shift my car for me. It's going to shift my car based on road speed. In a front wheel drive, you can't use front wheels to shift because they could be spinning like crazy. You got to use rear wheels. I'm going to use rear wheel speed to indicate road speed and shift based on that. So I also need speed sensors. Putting an ABS sensor on a rear wheel to handle that. I've already got some transmission sensors I've wanted to log, but my ECU won't accept those high frequencies of all those teeth on those rings. So I'm using frequency dividers to cut those frequencies in half or in 1/16 or whatever my ECU ends up accepting when this is all said and done. So transmission, frequency dividers, and the last thing is pull-up resistors. 2 out of my 4 temp inputs on my Link ECU don't have software pull-up resistors. It's a whole nother story, but it will be fixed with the help of my buddy Jake, who sent me some external pull-up resistors that need to be wired in as part of this. So I already have coolant temp and intake air temp, but I need to get my engine oil temp and transmission oil temp working. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. what I've done so far is I pinned all of the Smart 100 inputs and outputs and such to this connector, and then I made sure I had the mating connector that's going to go on my little jumper harness I'm going to build. And then I made sure that I had the mating connector for all the other connectors on my jumper harness. I'm going to be intercepting wires that currently go to my ECU. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a connector on a few wires that come from the harness to the ECU. Those are all going to jumper over to these connectors, go in and out, come back out to the ECU on this connector. So, I don't know. This is confusing. I'm going to do the best I can, though. All right. I ordered some wire. It was recommended by a buddy that I should order this kind of wire. And I think I actually have enough colors so that every wire can be its own color on this jumper harness I'm going to make. Barely getting started here. I've got, you know, this wire right here for input shaft goes to here, and then this comes from here, and this one's going to go to this other connector right here. But these connectors are DT, Deutsch, and this one's DTM. It's just a smaller pin, and unfortunately, my crimpers, I didn't realize that they were a different size, which might sound kind of silly, but this is new to me, so... these are DT only crimpers, so I need to get some that I can do DTM with so that I can finish this up. Gray is rear wheel speed. I'm on pin 3 right now. It's going to go from the harness connector It's going to go to the transmission connector, but it also goes to the ECU. So I have to split this signal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a second gray wire and I'm going to crimp it right along with this one. I'm going to put the end on there with 2 wires, and then this wire will go to the ECU. I'm going to do that a few times here where signals need to be split for the tachometer, the TPS, the brake switch. Both the TCU and the ECU need to see those signals. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making decent progress here. I'm getting this mapped out, leaving these so that I can do this connector with the smaller style crimpers like these when I get it. So that's all I'll have left, that and this one. These are both DTM small pins, and I don't have the crimp tool for, so I can get all this done. But I've realized I made a mistake on the gray wire. It goes in from the harness to the TCU and to the ECU, but it actually has to go in from the harness to the frequency divider to the TCU and ECU. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to work that out. I'm not even 100% clear yet how I need to fix that, but I know I need to. This is basically the finished project. I'd like to bundle these wires, you know, I don't know, put shrink wrap on them or something. These are a little long, and there's a reason for that. These aren't actually terminated. These are the ones I still need the smaller crimp tool to finish. But what I did was I just pushed the wires into the hole so I could get a layout of what this looks like. That's all the wires that are going in here. There's a little bit of tricky stuff, like nothing that's a big deal. It's just something you have to be paying attention to. But this harness, this jumper harness, is going to be the key to having my TCU, my pull-up resistors, and my frequency dividers all working. So I'm pretty excited. All right, new crimpers for the DTM connectors. Got the pins here, ready to finish this up. So these connectors are done. They're all pinned out. These wires are going to be 12 volt and ground for the devices that need that. And these wires over here are going to be 5 volt and sensor ground for the device that needs that. Those will get hooked up in the car. But the rest of this will plug in, basically. I do have a few wires on the ECU that I need to put on a plug that will plug into here. But that will be done in the car. So I'm trying to think of some kind of sheathing. I wish I had put some shrink tubing on here, DR25 or something like that. I could put some split loom on it, but that's not going to look great. I'd have to de-pin this to put any kind of heat shrink on it, but I may do that. And I also need to put these inserts in, but that's it. I went with the tie wraps for now. That way, if there's anything wrong with the harness, I can troubleshoot it easily. Maybe later I'll de-pin it and heat shrink it. All inserts have been inserted. And this thing's ready to put into the car. Once I prep the ECU connectors out there, I can plug this thing in, I can hook up these power and grounds and these power and grounds, and we should be in business. So that's going to be it for today's video. You're going to have to watch the next one to see what happens with that harness once it gets installed. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Put cheese on it.